Hey, everybody. Welcome. So excited to be hosting the first ever Buyer First Bites pop up series, sponsored and made all possible by Nevadic. There's no sales pitches here. This is just going to be my 2 cents on what I think makes a really great Buyers First website. So, before we get into it, wanted to say hello to everybody. And instead of asking you guys where you're from, because we probably can all figure that out anyways, we wanted to ask you a little bit more of a topical question and something that's relevant to the event itself. So that is, in your opinion, who is the Simone Biles, so the gold standard, if you will, of buyers first websites? While you guys are doing that, I'm going to set the stage for what we consider to be a B2B buyer first website. These are the different criteria that we look at. So is it accessible? Meaning, how convenient is it for buyers to book time with you and your sales team? Is it usable? How easy is it for people to get hands on to your product, either via imagery or actually trying to take a tour around of it yourself? And how visible is it? So, a lot of times we'll see CTAs that call for pricing as an example. Are you actually providing that in your content? So, these are some of the criteria that we consider when considering if something is a B2B buyer first website or not. So we're going to get right into it. Before I click here, the reason why I picked this website, obviously, I do consider it to be a buyer first website, but it actually holds a spot near and dear to my heart. Many of you might know, many of you may not know as well. I'm a former educator. So I taught abroad in Costa Rica to the kindergarten through second grades. And I'm just super passionate about anything I can do to give back to this community. Teachers are some of the hardest working professionals out there. We are constantly juggling between supporting the students, managing a ever tiny budget, and yes, marketers, I mean a tiny budget, and working with administration, working with the parents, multi-threading to the extreme. So I really was so thrilled to see that SmartPass actually really has an incredibly buyers first website. So I'm going to go ahead and click into it and we'll get started here. So first things first, this is really visually appealing. They have done a really nice job of framing up the homepage to be hyper relevant to their brand and their target audience. So I love already seeing on the right that they are showcasing what their product looks like in real time. So I can really narrow in and get an idea for the visuals right away. I also love that there is social proof in their second header. So they're already saying that they're working with thousands of schools to use SmartPass to make their hallway move smarter, improving student outcomes. To me, this is a hyper targeted, super clear header, and you know exactly what you're getting into. Of course, too, we have a get a demo and a take a tour. Before we dive into both of those, you may have noticed that we had a pop up. I think as marketers, there's this constant debate about whether or not to deploy a pop up. And I'm here to say that surprisingly, even if it may seemingly be an annoying buyer experience, it's actually one of the single best ways to do a data capture on a website. So across the board, B2C and B2B, people are able to capture 25% more of their online traffic if they institute something like this. So kudos, they already are ahead of the curve here by implementing this. I also really like in this pop-up that there is some funness to this, right? So you're getting the feel for the brand already. There's a playful sense of humor here. I would say maybe the CTA could be a little bit more of a softer call to action. So maybe you could include things like a case study or a blog or other resources, because we do already have the demo here too. But this may be a really strong capture for them. So I can see if they chose it for that perspective too. I'd also say too that potentially moving that a little bit further down the page. So if I'm scrolling for a little bit longer versus maybe just landing right here. So maybe it could just a couple seconds delay there. So I want to just jump right into it. For the purposes of today, I really want to focus on something that I don't see many B2B websites implement, at least not to this scale, and that's their take a tour functionality. This is something where right away I'm getting the experience of what is it going to be like to actually look at their platform. So as you've noticed, the screen has completely changed. I'm not looking at a window with different screenshots here and there. I actually feel like I'm in the platform itself. So it's already starting off by giving me the persona of, okay, let's see what it's like to be a student. So it's going to tell me to actually go ahead and create this pass. Sam is thirsty. He asks his teacher for permission to step out to get to the water fountain. I'm going to actually create a pass. So I had to actually move and create that. Over here, then we start to experience exactly what it would look like in the app itself. I love the first floor water fountain, hyper specific. And again, too, I'm not clicking within this pop-up itself. It's directing me to another part of the screen. So again, I feel like I'm actually in a new browser, right? As if I'm actually in SmartPass itself. And boom, here we are. We're right into it again. Sammy flips through his Chromebook around so Mr. Campbell can see the active pass. We're getting the full end-to-end experience here. Now, they could have just stopped here and put a gate in. But what I really love about this is that they're understanding that there's so many different buying decision makers that are going to be involved in this deal. So they're going to give us another perspective. And that's another key indicator of a really successful buyer's first website, is to showcase multiple personas throughout your content. So now we're going to be in the teacher view. And again, we flipped into a completely new screen. I don't feel like I'm looking just at a series of gifts, but I feel like I'm actually engaged in the platform. Hyper detailed, very conversational in nature too with its copy. I'm wanting to stay engaged and kind of go through this journey, if you will, of what it's like to now be a teacher in SmartPass. Again, we are going through all the different screens, and you may think that eventually we're going to get a pop-up with a gate, but you don't. So you're going to go to the admin view now. So that is now a third buying persona. And as we know, you can have anywhere to 14, I think was the last average number of buying decision makers that you could see in a deal cycle. So just really impressed that they took the time to consider all the various ways that you may need to interact with different buyers, and they're giving you that to you without any ask to begin with. Love the colors, love the visualization. I love that I'm seeing all the different ways that I can view this as if I was actually using this already. So here we are. They're actually showing you a business problem or a use case that would probably be hyper relevant to you. So they've encountered a problem where students are expected to be somewhere at the same time, and it's giving you those different roadblocks and considerations that you may have to consider. So as you can see, we took a journey, and I would say that this was maybe 10 or more clicks with, again, multiple use cases, multiple visuals to consider what is it like to actually be a SmartPass user before they ever asked anything of their end user. So just kudos there. This to me is validating of having to ask, right? We've gone through, we've shown them multiple use cases, we've shown them the value proposition, we've given them the perspective, we're giving them the social proof, and we've even have a video to go along with it, all before we ask anything of the end user. So really impressed. I also like that they are making it possible for you to interact in another way. So let's say maybe we didn't have the time and we didn't want to input, our school or our job title. We wanted to get a little bit deeper information. They are also providing you with the opportunity to ask a question and chat with a live individual. That is so rare these days. I feel like we're constantly inundated with just forms or maybe even just a AI robot assistant. So really impressed with the ability that we can talk to a live human if we would like. So I'm just going to go back to the homepage because this is obviously a very strong CTA, one that is really well developed and really considering all the different personas and use cases within their deal. But I want to also highlight that they've still made this landing page the front store. And I think that the landing page is a front store for any B2B brand. And I'm really impressed with their use of social proof. So you can see that there's different case studies embedded throughout. I really appreciate that we actually have the name of the individual and an imagery instead of just what you'll typically see, which is often just the logo scrolling at the top. So they've made it really beneficial to the user to see all the different social proofs throughout. Again, it's very interactive. So I'm a big fan of having something already playing in the background. It's going to give you a sense and idea of what you can experience in the video and before you actually click play yourself. And it's just really easy to read. It's also very optimized for mobile. So you can see that as I scroll and make this different sizes, it's still really easy to read and really easy to digest. So that is huge for this SmartPass. I'm just going to say kudos. I haven't yet come across, even in my career, we were constantly evaluating new technology. I've never seen such a buying friendly, interactive, and beautifully designed site. So I was so happy to be able to call this out in the first pop-up, because I think traditionally you would assume that this would be maybe like a B2B SaaS tech marketing solution just by the way they designed it. So kudos to the entire marketing team. You really considered your buyer's journey and how they would like to consume content, and you made them the hero in the story. I love seeing how all of these customer success stories are not hidden behind a gate. They're not hard to find. They're right there front and center, and they're easy to digest and easy to consume. So big, big, big win. All right. So we have some comments in here. I love seeing some call outs to Ring Central. They're a big one. Vidyard is another really good Simone Biles win. Kudos to them. Jellyfish, shout out to Kyle Lacey. He is leading the charge there. He is another Nevadic advisor and a huge fan of putting clients at the center of everything they do. And yes, hooray for Ungated. There's so much information as marketers that we can access without putting a gate that it's silly to not give more information. Aligned is another great one too. Love that shout out. Awesome. Well, team, continue to put any in, maybe even some that you think could work more towards a Simone Biles, but maybe aren't quite there yet. While you guys do that, we did have a request that we are happy to get to, and that is going to be one from Cassie, huge fan of all the work she's doing at RevPartners. We're going to go ahead and dive into her website too. So if there's another one, if we have time, feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll make sure to get to that as well. So RevPartners, really love this headline. I think it's pretty unique, right? So it's instantly kind of sparking your curiosity. It's not magic, it's RevOps as a service. Operationalize your success to achieve the fastest time to value from your sales, marketing, customer success. What I like about that is it is calling out the different use cases, the different personas that they can serve. And that's going to be very telling to somebody right away. Okay, this solution might be for me. I loved here too, and I'm very curious to see how personalized this is, because I do work with clients that use HubSpot as their primary CRM. So I was curious to see if this is just their vendor of choice, or if they had the personalized tokenization on me already to know that this pop-up would be hyper relevant to me. That is definitely something that a lot of companies can deploy with their pop-up services. I know even Terminus is in the chat too. I know you guys have the opportunity to customize based on the different information you have with your own pop-ups in it. So definitely an opportunity. I am curious if they are aware and did decide to personalize that. So kudos on that. I was very interested by this red blinking dot at the top in the nav bar. Usually you'll see like a demo or a contact us being prioritized, but they're actually trying to prioritize your attention to their resource section, which isn't something I see a lot of B2B sites take. This to me is really buyer first friendly because it's leading with educational value, which is more in the buyer's interest versus the vendor's interest. So I was really happy to see that call out. And when I got here, I was able to see, okay, here's all the different articles they have. What was really cool too is that RevOps articles is something where it's not just in service of the brand, but it's going to be featuring other really helpful information just for the industry of RevOps as well. Back here too, Academy. I think this is a really rare one as well, where they're offering something that's just a huge value add, whether or not you are a customer of theirs. So very cool to have that as an option too. So one thing I did notice that with these different CTAs, right, I think it's really important when you're putting a CTA on a site that you have very specific things that you are asking from them, but also that you're giving back in return. So I did notice that the Get Started is a very similar CTA that you're going to kind of see embedded throughout. So we're going to keep getting a similar pop-up CTA. So I think what I would recommend is if you're going to lead people to the same page, make sure that the copy and your heading and your CTA is slightly different to make sure that they're actually getting something different. If it's the same CTA over and over again, but it's telling you that it's going to be something different, that could maybe lead to a not as pleasant experience. So just something to consider. I also think that there's opportunity, just like we had in the pop out, I think there's opportunity instead of it leading to a new page altogether to maybe either just have a pop-up form or actually open up in a new tab entirely. That way, if they want to keep exploring this main home front, your landing page, they have that option. I do like this as well. And I think that that sounds awesome, is a really fun and unique CTA. I have found, God, I'm forgetting the stat on me right now, but stats that have some kind of variation that you wouldn't expect. So maybe the title casing is different. In other words, maybe it's like that and then sounds and awesome don't have any capital to them. Or if they have something different here, like a period after that, and then sounds and then awesome, that is something that indicates something new and different, and it just again sparks curiosity. So kudos here. I think that's an excellent use of variation of your copy in your CTA, and that's a big win. Here too, we have facts. I like that there's just fact and fact instead of fact and false, or fact and I guess non-fact. So a very, very nice way to go ahead and bring some more differentiation into their copy. Show me some science is another use of really cool different CTAs. So while again, I love the different use of copy, I think that there's different CTAs that we can embed throughout. So maybe instead of it always being kind of that going to that contact us or request a demo, maybe one of them could be a newsletter. So I'm scrolling down here and I'm just going to do a quick search. Okay, maybe it's you get a subscription to your different articles, or you get access to an academy. Maybe it's a discount code to an academy. Have some different variations throughout the page so it's not always the same CTA. There's also a lot of fields in your CTA. And I think that depending on what you're hoping to get out of them or what the content section is calling for, you may not need to ask more than 3. Maybe you just need first name, last name, and email. And maybe for a section that's asking for a demo, you can then have the additional fields like a phone number and a company name, if you will. I am a big fan of FAQs, and I really did like the appreciation of this on the homepage itself. Super easy to read. I love the accordion style of this, so I can open or close it if I need to. Maybe even move it a bit further up in the page so that there's more information for the reader to scroll before actually getting to some more harder CTAs. Awesome. So let me see here. I might have time for this LeadiQ one. We have about 2 minutes, so I'm just going to give it super bite-sized information. Okay. Love that we have, oh, this is great, super good. I'm going to deny and continue, but great for privacy. Love that we have a very prominent CTA at the top. So this is their state of prospecting survey. I can click to take the survey, and it opens up in its own tab. Great win there. Love how easy this is to read. It's super dynamic, full of imagery, and the CTAs are really clear, and what I'm going to get out of it is really clear. So really good use of bolding, spacing, and imagery. It's always good to have that as an option so that you can give somebody right away something that's really easy and for them, versus always kind of leading with our book a demo. So big win there. I also love that it now went away when I came back to this so that I can fully see the rest of the site. Book a demo. Great that that's called out. Start for free. So I'm going to load that. Wonderful. Love that that's really easy and quick to get to. This is beautiful too. I like that I'm able to see all of the imagery of the product really quickly. Definitely an opportunity, I would say, for some interactive capabilities here. So maybe we could have a book a demo, and before they actually do book a demo, maybe there is a little bit of an interactive component here, similar to what we saw with SmartPass, where we could go through some screens and then show the gate to really earn that kind of CTA too. Obviously, just an option. Great to show the social proof. Another great opportunity for a pop-up. I love that. I do, again, like that that pops up into its own and then it collapses. So really good there. I love that we also have a chatbot here. Again, this is great to give your user more ways to contact you and see if you can immediately chat with a person. Big kudos to them if you can. Even bigger kudos too if you have a calendar as well. And the social proof, again, I love that we're leading with social proof, not just with logos like we did at the top, but you can see here clearly that we have an exact person. So if I wanted to go scroll on LinkedIn and feel like I'm getting something that's a little bit more authentic, I definitely could. It definitely just humanizes the brand quite a bit. And the validation here too. We're really being clear with our value prop. You're going to get more pipeline and ROI in 6 months or less. That's a really direct value prop. I would maybe even lead with that sooner. and have that be at the top. I'm going to go ahead and collapse this so we can see this. So build pipeline with confidence. I love that. I would even just move that value prop though right underneath the heading so we can be super clear and direct, because I think that's a really strong and unique value prop. Awesome. Well, team, I feel like we are right at time here. Hopefully you guys got a lot of bite-sized information. Try to jam as much quick information as we could as possible. I think all of us can walk away with a couple of insights. Really love that we got to highlight SmartPass and get to some of these other websites too. We do have a link, which Natalie just dropped, for the Buyers First Best Practices report. You can get all the data and insight from hundreds of revenue leaders that they survey to understand what are those best performing websites, what makes it really easy for somebody to buy. Definitely recommend checking that out. And there will be many more of these to come. So please feel free to reach out to me, Natalie, or Nevadic with any websites you would like us to review in the future. Thanks all. Speak soon. Bye.